But with filming having wrapped, news from production is leaking all over the place. Some producers don't miss Chris Harrison, but others clearly do. And it's rumored that there have been deliberate efforts to sabotage Katie's season to get Chris back. Before we get into an eyebrow-raising rumor about this season, let's deal with the facts. Notably, this season does not have Chris Harrison on it, and it's a bit of an adjustment. One production source says that, at least among some, Chris' presence has been missed. This is because the guys always go to him for advice, the insider explains. The source continued, and view him as a wise older guy, and the ladies go to him as a father figure. While we'd love to pick apart why that inside source separated Chris production groupies by gender, we'll go on. The insider lamented that there was not the same dynamic with hosts Tayshia and Kaitlyn. Interestingly, the source shares that Chris was considered to be the mediator and voice of reason on set. A second insider shares, the guys didn't feel like they could vent, or have therapy sessions with Tayshia or Kaitlyn. It's easy with Chris, the source reasons, because he knows the drill in the process. As a result, filming had a different vibe this season, the second insider notes. Apparently, part of this had to do with the gender dynamics of all male contestants with a pair of women as hosts. It was a lot of female energy in one bubble, the second source characterizes. And, this insider continues, it was then hard for Katie to have the full spotlight. According to that source, part of the dynamic was that Kaitlyn and Tayshia have extremely outgoing personalities. That is generally considered an asset for hosts or interviewers. But it sounds like production is saying that Katie was upstate. A third insider says that Chris wasn't necessarily missed. That source does acknowledge that the dynamic was different for this season. It was a little hard to put all the focus on Katie when Kaitlyn and Tayshia were there, the insider explains. It wasn't necessarily competitive, the source clarified, but, the insider continues, it was a really different vibe. And apparently part of the different vibe was that they were just, well, too fun and too pretty. They're very attractive and fun and familiar to the franchise, the source explains. So, the insider details, it kind of distracted from Katie being the only desirable woman there. It should be interesting to watch that play out on screen. Chris is not expected at Paradise, the third source it's not been mentioned at this point, the insider says. But, the source adds, everyone knows he wants to return. It will be interesting to see how much of this new vibe impacts the shows. In contrast, it seems that at least some of that may have been production expressing their opinions. It's not every day that people, even those in the entertainment industry, get to leak info as a way to just complain about their jobs. Which leads us directly into an unconfirmed report from a nonetheless reputable blog. The Instagram blog at Dermois released a screenshot of a direct message, shared anonymously. In it, someone, allegedly an insider, claimed that producers were deliberately making Katie and her season look worse. According to this unconfirmed screenshot, the show was ready to welcome Chris back after his brief hiatus. Apparently, Katie did not sign off on it. What's more, she allegedly took to Twitter to unilaterally announce that Chris was not returning. This reportedly was a surprise to production and to Chris himself. After this, more and more voices from within the Bachelor fam spoke about their misgivings about Chris. This has had production wondering when, if ever, they could bring Chris back to the show. This isn't just about Katie, as multiple contestants and leads have spoken privately and publicly about this. The alleged insider says that all of this explains his high-powered attorney, and predicts that he will never return. That could be true, and we're inclined to believe that the person sending it is a genuine insider. But we all know how rumors and discussions at work can go. A genuine producer believing it does not make it true. That said, if production is sabotaging Katie's season because she took a positive moral stand, that's not good. Ultimately, we would all like to see Chris Harrison put in the work and actively become a better person. But no one is entitled to host a major reality TV franchise, even after a hiatus of any length. At the end of the day, Chris caused a major controversy that a host in his position